is a train whistle project. The overall dimensions are 8 inches long by 1.5 inch by 1.5 inch, and the wood used is maple, cherry, and walnut. Gives you some different contrasting colors there, and you can kind of see when I rotate this what the pattern looks like. It's kind of like a spiraling pattern, like almost like a barbershop pole pattern. And the way I did that was I first start out with strips of the 3 types of wood. They'll be 3/4 inch thick by maybe 2 inches wide by something more than 8 inches, like maybe 9 inches. And you glue those guys together, and then you'll cut that out, those pieces, but at a 45-degree angle from how they would normally rest, and that will give you a different pattern. Like I'll show you on this side right here. That'll give you that kind of pattern, and that's what I was kind of looking for with this project, was just a different kind of pattern. And once you get it to that point where it's roughly in this shape, then you'll cut it down into 1-inch sections, like right there. And this piece right here, the end piece or the mouthpiece, you move that off to the side because it's going to take some different process with that. But once you've got them all cut down, what you do is you rotate each of the pieces 90 degrees and then re-glue them back up, and that will give you this, this kind of pattern that's shown here. And once you're to that point, then you take a 1/2-inch drill bit, and you'll want to drill out holes lengthwise into the piece, but they're going to be at different lengths, so you'll divide them up into 4 different lengths, so maybe one there, and there. And the reason for that is it will give you the different tones that make up the train whistle, with those different lengths. So once you've got those guys drilled out, then you'll take the bandsaw, and I made a little fixture to hold the piece at this sort of orientation, or 45-degree orientation. And what that will do is you can just make a straight cut right there with the bandsaw, and you make a 45-degree cut with the bandsaw. All these dimensions are available in a 3D CAD model, a SketchUp model, if you guys were interested in making one of these. But once you got that cut out, then the next step is to add these little doweling pieces right there. A little focus. Yeah, there we go. And you add those doweling pieces. They've got a little notch cut in them, which allows air to pass over the dowel, and it positions that airflow to where it just comes into contact with this chamfer, or this notch right here. So half the air will go this way, and half the air will be trapped inside the chamber that you drilled out, the 1/2-inch drill bit, and that's what will create the whistle noise. But the trick of it is you have to tune the position of that doweling. So you'll have to move it back and forth, and I gave a suggested notch size, for the doweling, but you could even, adjust that notch size as well to change the tone and the loudness of the whistle. So you have to do that for each of the 4 drill holes and get it to sound like you want it to sound. And then you glue the dowels in place. And then on the other end, this mouthpiece end right here, what I've got is just a 3/4 inch hole cut in there. That's where you're going to blow in there. And on the inside of it, you can't really see, but I'll show a picture of what this looks like. But there's 4 1/2-inch drill holes from this side of the piece to right about the middle, and they're right over the top of where you would have drilled these other holes, right? So what that does is it just gives you a clear path for the air to go through and escape out through the notches in the doweling part. So just a little different way of doing it, what it really ends up doing is it kind of maximizes the amount of wood that's left over for gluing between this piece and this piece. So it's kind of a structure thing. to try and make this as solid as possible. It's a lot of different pieces that are all glued together. I'm not really going to test it to how strong it is, but there's a lot of pieces there that are glued together. A lot of times these just get made with a single piece on this side, and you end up cutting this piece over here as a separate piece, but it's really just two pieces. That will be stronger than this, but this is just going to look better. You know, it's a little different look. You know, the finish on this is food grade mineral oil and beeswax, and I've got some chamfers cut along each of the corners. I used the table saw to cut those, didn't use a router bit. So they're at 45-degree angles. I think it looks really nice. Let's show this side over here. See if it can show the detail of that. Yeah, right there. So, yeah. Here's what it sounds like. That's one of them. Each of them have a little bit different sound because the tuning isn't quite exactly the same. And that's where the kind of the art of it comes in, I guess, is tuning those to what, you know, what you'd like them to sound like. And that's the project.